in a room. My mouth is on fire. But is it supposed to be a little crunchy? It's hot. This is coming from the experience of a girl who can't cook. I ate Stardew Valley food for 24 hours and almost died. Let's get into the tea. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nina Gabriella, and usually in this channel we like to talk about video games, games that I think probably shouldn't have happened, games that I do think should happen, cute little cozy games, here on and out. Today we're talking about Stardew Valley, which is one of my favorite farming simulation games. If you've ever played Stardew Valley, you know that in this game there's romance, there's farming, there's taking care of animals, there's so much to do in Stardew Valley. But have you ever wondered what it would be like if I spent a whole day as if I were a Stardew Valley character and you ate the food all day? So that's why I went ahead and bought the Stardew Valley Cookbook. I have made a little short talking about how I was so excited to try the recipes from this book, but honestly, the reason why the video took so long is I didn't have the budget to buy all of the things that this book entails. So I decided I would put myself on a budget of about 70 bucks and seeing how many recipes I can make out of this, because I'm gonna be eating this food for the entirety of the day. But let me take you guys down a little journey of what it was like trying all of the Stardew Valley recipes, and if you wanna try them for yourself, let's get into it. Now, before we get into today's video, guys, I have an awesome announcement. We made it to 5,000 YouTube subs. Oh my gosh. Guys, I am so excited. Okay, this right here is a plaque that my friend made me from their Etsy store. Shout out to them for making this for me, because honestly, hopefully one day I can get a real plaque one day. But my goal of this year was to make it to 5,000 subs. I want to say a huge thank you to you for supporting my channel, watching my videos, and checking out all my updates. I literally owe this to you guys. So after this video, I'm gonna have it framed up in the back somewhere so we can remember this goal, and maybe we can shoot for 10,000 subs next year. That's my goal. So maybe 5,000 a year, or maybe I'll shoot a little bigger. I don't know. Already, I do know I am so grateful for this. Started the year with under 1,000 subs, and I've just been working on YouTube consistently as much as I can. I am a solo dolo here. I've been trying to do all of this by myself. I do all my edits. I do literally everything, so it takes me a long time to push out these videos for you guys. But seeing this number right here, where that's you guys. Thank you so much. Soon I'm going to be doing special membership videos very soon. If you want to continue to support me, that's going to be starting mid-November, because I have a special cosplay series that if you're interested in checking that out. Also some acting series that are going to just be for my members. So if you are interested in checking out further, I'm going to be updating and posting those videos very soon. I have a video in the vault that should be going out very soon. So we're striving for 10,000 subs next year. Please leave me any comments of any games you'd like me to feature very soon so I can put them up for you guys. Love this, literally. Okay guys, let's get into today's video. So today we're talking about the Stardew Valley Cookbook. If you've ever played Stardew Valley, you know you get some strange recipes, and some of them just don't make any sense. So I thought I was gonna see some of that in this book. There's a little bit of farm humor of recipes from some of the characters in the game. So just giving you guys kind of an overview. These are actual recipes. Do have maybe some humor from the game, just a tad, but for the most part, these are real recipes, but they are recipes that you can actually find in Stardew Valley. So I just thought it was kind of cool to actually being able to try some of these. So I'm going to take you guys with me on my little journey. So what we're going to be breaking down is that I tried a recipe from spring, summer, fall, and winter. On top of just adding in a few extras, I did some dessert. I also I tried a couple of the drinks. So there's a lot. Probably one of the most difficult things I've done in a long time. Come along with me. I'm taking you guys with me to my local Meijer grocery store as we find all the food that we need for this Stardew Valley challenge. It's pretty early in the morning right now, so my goal is to find everything I'm gonna eat for the rest of the day, starting with breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert. I also want to make sure that I try one entree from spring, summer, fall, and winter of all the seasons in the Stardew Valley Cookbook. I already had made the ingredient list before I went, so I knew that we weren't going to be spending too much money. The total came to $76.95, which I'd say was pretty good, but we did have to go back for a couple more things, so I'd say about 80 or 90 bucks in total. Okay guys, so we're finally back. We're going to start with something from spring. I'm feeling a little peckish right now, so So I don't really need a big lunch, don't need a big breakfast. We're gonna start with this cheese cauliflower here. Now, I probably have said this already at some point, but I don't know how to cook, okay? There's a couple things that I'm good at. It's playing games that aren't too difficult. It's sleeping. And yeah, I think that's probably it. So cooking is not one of those things. But because it's gaming related, we're gonna try it. I decided to pick 4 of the recipes that I didn't think were super complicated. I think cheese cauliflower should be easy. Like, you get some cheese and some cauliflower and you put it in the microwave and you're done.
Or so you thought.
But I don't know, for some reason this seems a lot more complicated. Let's get started.
We're starting with our first recipe, which is cheese cauliflower. Now, like I said, I thought this was gonna be pretty easy, but as you can see, there are a lot of ingredients on this list. I think overall I was just a bit confused because I never had made something like this before, but overall it didn't take too much time, and if you really pay attention, it isn't too bad. But I really like some of the finishing touches in this book. Like, Maru's favorite food is actually the cheese cauliflower, so I thought that was actually really cool that that's in the book, along with some of the other characters that also have their favorite foods in this book as well. But being that in the video game, all you need is cheese and cauliflower to make this recipe, I was like, wow, this is a lot of extra steps.
I didn't find Havarti cheese. Instead we have this like Italian style cheese, and we did find the Guerre, I'm probably saying that wrong, the Guerre cheese mixed with Swiss. So it's not gonna taste exactly like the recipe, but I think, I mean, this does have a smoked provolone in it, so I'm hoping it'll still taste good. It's done! Let's see. Oh.
After sprinkling on our cheese mixture, this is the final look of the cheese cauliflower. Overall, I think it looks actually pretty good. It took me way too long to make this, but I will say I hope that it is actually worth it.
All right, guys, it's finally done. So here's our plate. Doesn't it look so fancy? All right, like I said, I'm not very good at cooking, but I think we did a pretty good job. This has probably had taken us about maybe 2-ish hours to do, and to be honest, this looks like a recipe that would probably take you only about 20 minutes. So I'd say that's my first kind of gripe about it, although that could be due to the fact I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Overall though, I feel like this wasn't the hardest recipe in the world. I will say though, there were a couple things added into this recipe that I felt like were a bit unnecessary, on top of just doing some extra stuff that I just didn't feel like had to have been done. And I think the instructions also on top of that were a little bit unclear. Some of the things in regards to like blending it and putting it back in the oven and mixing and doing all that took a little bit longer. So overall, I don't think this was too bad. I just think the Stardew Valley cookbook itself could be a little bit easier to read in regards to the instructions. So that, I think, is my only gripes about it. But I've talked for long enough. Let's actually try the food and see how it tastes. Not bad. I put it this way. It is just cauliflower. So, I mean, it tastes like cheesy cauliflower, which is pretty good, but it's just cauliflower. Would I make this again? I do like it though. I think it actually tastes pretty good, especially for me not knowing how to have made this at first. I am very proud of myself. But overall though, I mean, I don't know. I think you're better off just throwing some cheese on your cauliflower and calling it a day. So, it's all right.
Rating this recipe out of 10, I mean, overall it wasn't too hard to make. I feel like it could have been simpler though. The taste was okay. It's a good 6 out of 10 for me. Might try again, might not.
All right, so I kind of wanted a little dessert. So this is gonna be our spring. We're still in the spring season, but I'm actually just making this to put into the fridge for later because we're making rice pudding, which I've never had rice pudding before. So I, 1, don't know how to make it, 2, don't know how it's gonna taste, but I'm actually really excited. So we're getting ready to start this one now. This actually has to sit for a couple hours in the fridge. So I'm just gonna make it now and then come back to it later tonight and have it for dessert later. So let's get started.
Our next spring recipe is the rice pudding. I'm actually really excited to make this because I've always wanted to try rice pudding. And the cookbook version is very similar to just the Stardew Valley video game recipe. You just need a little bit of milk, sugar, and kind of mix it up together. But in the Stardew Valley cookbook, they actually add a special cherry compote to mix with it just to add on top. So I was actually really excited about that as well.
Okay guys, the rice pudding is finally done. Right now it's chilling in the fridge. So I gotta wait a couple hours before I gotta come back to it so I can try it for you guys. So we're officially done with the spring season of Stardew Valley. So we still have summer, winter, and fall that we still need to try. So it's about 6:30 now my time. I've made a couple recipes so far. So I'm gonna move on to fall before I go back to summer, because in fall I chose a little dinner one I want to try, and I wanted to try one of the drinks.
Our next recipe for fall is actually the salmon dinner. By this point, I was actually pretty hungry, so I was really excited for my next meal. I wanted to do something kind of easy, like I've made salmon a million times. Now granted, this salmon looks a lot more complicated. It actually comes with a side salad, which is a kale salad, and a pilaf, which we are not making actually. But I believe the salmon and the salad should just be enough. Now, while I'm adding on this dressing sort of vinaigrette that is needed for the recipe, I was a little disappointed because once we actually looked at everything, we had to actually add a little bit more seasoning to it just because it was a bit dry. But hopefully it turns out okay. And then for a little drink, we decided to make the cranberry candy drink, which I actually am super excited to try. It looks like a very cute, sweet drink with a little bit of apple cider and cranberries. So I thought this would be a nice, easy recipe and you don't need a lot for it. I feel like this recipe probably took us the longest to make everything, but it was just so many different parts to it. But let's just hope that the food lives up to how long it took us to make it.
Taking us literally so long to make all these freaking meals. I'm so tired. But we're gonna try the salmon, and I also have the little apple cider drink here. You guys can't really, yeah, there you go. You guys can see it a little bit. Oh, perfect. There we go. Yeah, we have our apple cider drink. We have our salmon here. Let's try everything, see how it all tastes. And then we'll probably be trying one more late night snack later, and the rice pudding. So don't worry, I didn't forget. So let's first try the salmon, okay? Now, like you guys had just seen in previous shots, I did have to doctor it up a little bit, and it just took so long to cook. Like 300 degrees is not perfect for salmon. The only thing we didn't make with this was the pilaf with it. We honestly just didn't have the time, nor did we have the budget for it. But we did make the salmon, so I mean, here it is. Oh, I don't know, honestly, the recipe for the salmon just wasn't as amazing as I thought it was gonna be. It felt like it took forever to make this little vinaigrette for it, just for it to just not taste as flavorful. So that's my biggest critique with it. Oh, now that it's all cooked and ready though, I'm excited to try it. And hopefully it tastes a little better now that we've added a couple things in it. But before that, we did do the salad, so I'm gonna try the salad first, and then I'll try the salmon. Let's get started. Starting with the kale salad. Guys, first of all, I don't really love kale, so if my review or my thoughts on the kale isn't that good, it's just because I actually don't really like kale, but I'm hoping, I don't know, it tastes a little better. We added everything in it. It's more of like a, kind of a, just greens with a little bit of dressing on it. And by dressing, it's really just like honey and lemon, and it's not bad. It just tastes kind of like sweet greens. And it's not like this is bad, nor did this take us long to make. It's just a salad. So, I mean, yeah, that's all there really is to it. Moving on. All right, time for what took us the longest, the salmon. Let's see how it tastes. Okay, so my thoughts. I feel like salmon is a little hard to mess up. And I hate to say it, but this isn't the best salmon I've ever eaten. To me, the recipe itself was a little dry on the side of the seasoning of the salmon. It tastes better now that I've added a little bit more seasoning to it. My first bites of it, when it was still pre-cooking, didn't taste too great. Now it tastes decent. Like I'm totally gonna finish this because this is what I made for dinner today. It's just okay to me. I will say I think the cooking book doesn't have like the right times necessarily. I don't know how hot their oven was or whatever when they were cooking it, but I know 300 degrees, it took forever. It said 25 minutes and the salmon was barely even cooked by the time those 25 minutes were up. I think at most it took probably an hour for this to have been done, and only for an hour to be just slightly disappointed. It's okay. It's really not bad. But would I be using the Stardew Valley recipe again to just make salmon and a kale salad? Probably not.
The fact that I added a bunch of seasonings to this and it still just tasted okay-ish to me made me believe that this probably wasn't my favorite one. It's a good 4.5 out of 10 for me. Probably won't try again.
So next we're trying the cranberry candy drink. I'm actually really excited because honestly, even making this, I was thinking this is probably gonna be my favorite thing. Hopefully the rice pudding too. I have high hopes. We haven't gotten that far yet. But let's try it. I'm expecting good results. Guys, this is good. Now I will say, all right, how do I describe the taste? It tastes like a fruity apple cider, so to speak. Like, and I know what you're thinking, like apple cider is already fruity, but it tastes like a sweeter version of this. But the thing is, I don't taste as much cranberry. I taste a little more apple cider, and I think that's because you're using a lot more apple cider in the recipe. But it is really good. Honestly, I think this is my favorite recipe so far. It's definitely a fall drink. Like I would drink this like at home, feeling nice and cozy with, you know, playing Stardew Valley actually. I think this would be super cute. And actually it was really easy to make. Literally just some cranberries and some apple cider. Yeah, that's really good. And it's really nice and sweet. I think this would actually be really good warm on top of it being cold. Because not only do people love their little warm apple cider in the fall, but I think this would actually be something really good, adding a little bit of cranberry to it. So don't really have too many gripes with the drink. Love it.
Not too much to say here. This drink was delicious.
It's getting pretty late now. I've eaten so many little Stardew Valley meals in these just last couple hours. On top of the fact that they've all been really long to make and take a long time to cook, and the instructions are a bit unclear. So I think that's my only frustration with it. I'm gonna make one more recipe left that I still need to make depending on where this cut is in the video. So we're gonna do that. And then I'm gonna give my final thoughts about what I had thought of the Stardew Valley cookbook. All right, guys, now we are finally in the summer, we're in the summer menu of the Stardew Valley meals. So we only have one summer meal that we're gonna do. We're doing the mango sticky rice. So I'm pretty excited to try it. It's more of like a dessert, but basically we have all the ingredients. The only thing we don't have is a cheesecloth, which I don't know why we need a cheesecloth and who even uses a cheesecloth nowadays. So instead, for our substitute, we have these like little coffee filters. We're hoping it's still gonna turn out the same way.
You can actually just ignore what I'm saying here. We actually ended up not even doing this and just soak the rice. So we really didn't need the cheesecloth or anything like that. Next on our list is the summer recipe, which is the mango sticky rice. As complicated as we thought this recipe was going to be, I want to say if we didn't have to look at these crazy ingredients telling us all these weird different directions, I feel like this would have just been so much better if we just said soak the rice in the cheesecloth and call it a day, because really we didn't even have to. We just soaked the rice for a couple minutes while it was boiling, and then it was all good to go. It tasted like as if it was probably soaked in a cheesecloth. Granted, I wouldn't have known, but I honestly felt like that was a little bit unnecessary. I think there's probably a better way you can go about it. I don't know if they're playing up the Stardew Valley maybe livelihood on if you have some of these materials or not, but I will say I thought it was a bit extra just to make some mango sticky rice. But I will say everything did look very good. I loved looking at the fresh mangoes and pouring the little bit of sauce or dressing or whatever on top of it. It was just so much fun to make and smelled so delicious. This was our final product, and let me just say the camera skills are doing it because it looks amazing.
Alrighty guys, we're here with our summer meal. Honestly, it smells really, really good. I've honestly been waiting for a sweet treat finally. I just finished with dinner. So that was actually our fall meal, but this is gonna be our summer Stardew Valley meal, which is more of like a dessert. But honestly, I think this would actually be really nice for the summer. In terms of some of the other things I had seen in there, I didn't see a lot of like food options that I really loved, but I saw a lot of like the sweet treats and desserts and light sort of airy things, which I guess would make sense. You know, it's kind of like some summer recipes. But let's just try it and see how it tastes. This is the mango sticky rice. I've never had something like this before, but making it actually wasn't too bad. Now granted, we kind of skipped a couple steps. We didn't have to make our sticky rice by hand because I mean, well, in the grocery store we just found sticky rice already ready, so we didn't have to soak for a long time. And that whole thing with the cheesecloth, we couldn't find it. Granted, we didn't really need it. All we did was soak the rice, add some mangoes, chopped up some nuts and put it on top of it, and it should hopefully be pretty good. Let's dig in. All right. I really like it. I actually really like this. It tastes like sweet rice, but the thing is that since we made that like condensed coconut milk sort of drizzle on it, it does taste like almost a healthier option of a dessert because you have your mangoes and your little nuts and stuff like that. It might be better than, you know, eating ice cream after dinner. So I will say overall though, it does taste pretty sweet. I definitely think you can get away with having this for a little dessert snack, or even if you just want something a little lighter, because it isn't very heavy feeling, and I honestly like the fruit mixed with it. I think if the mango wasn't added to it though, I don't really think it would be all that. So I definitely think you need some sort of fruit or something with it. It adds like a bit of tanginess to it, and I love it. It's like a little hint of tang that makes the rice kind of elevate its flavor. Great little dessert in here. I don't know what I was expecting with this one, but I'm thoroughly surprised. So let's move on to our next little Stardew Valley meal.
If it weren't for the complications with the recipe book, I'd say this was probably perfect for me. Overall, 8 out of 10.
Guys, this is so good.
Time to go back to our rice pudding as it is finally done from sitting in the fridge for a while. I don't know if it looks super appetizing, if I'm going to be completely honest, but it's ready to go, so let's try it.
Okay guys, we are back. We are going back to spring. It's been a couple hours. The rice pudding has to sit for a little while before you can eat it. So I had dinner, I had a dessert right before this. So now we're going to try finally the rice pudding, okay? I've never had rice pudding before. I think everything I've tried in the videos that you guys have just watched is all been new to me to some degree. It's really helped my cooking game a little bit. But here's our rice pudding. So for all you rice pudding fans out there, hopefully, I don't know, it doesn't really look all that appetizing. I just hope it like tastes good. If I'm gonna be honest, it kind of looks like someone threw up in a bowl. But let's try it. Here we go. There's a couple of things going through my mind while eating. Number one, never had rice pudding before. But is it supposed to be a little crunchy?
No. You need to get the rice long.
Well, I need to tell them that. I feel like rice is supposed to be not that crunchy. So that's my first thing I want to add, which I think is more of a user error. Guys, I told you I can't cook. Okay. Secondly though, it is sweet. It tastes really good. Other than the fact of it just being a little hard, I will say this is pretty nice. The cherry component adds a nice tartness to the sweetness of the rice, which I actually really like. You get a little bit of something that's a little more savory along with something that's really sweet, and they blend together very nice. I just don't like that it's crunchy. I only had this sitting for a couple hours. Typically for rice pudding, you have to let this sit for, you know, hours and days and on end. So, I mean, maybe it just hasn't sat long enough for me to get like the true flavor of it. But I will say for this being my first time, one, making it, and two, tasting it, I don't think it's half bad. I love the cherry, like, tartness of it. We got some, like, very tart cherries at the grocery store. Only thing I'm disappointed about is that I wish I would have cooked the rice a bit longer. Overall, not bad. I like it. I think the recipe was pretty easy to follow for this one. Didn't take me long at all. And, yeah, no issues with it, really.
My fault for making it too crunchy, but I guess if it weren't for that, this would be pretty good. So it's a 6 out of 10 in my book.
Alright, hi guys, welcome back. So it's a little later in the evening now. I have my pajamas and stuff on. I thought it'd be perfect to make a little late night snack. So we're gonna do the pepper poppers. This is the last food item we're gonna make from the book. So I'm hoping it'll taste good. Let's get started.
The last recipe we're making from the Stardew Valley cookbook is the pepper poppers, which is a winter recipe. The Stardew Valley game says all you need is some hot peppers and cheese. So we got some fresh jalapenos from the store, coated them in some oil, and then made this little side sort of dish of cream cheese, and like a bunch of other spices all mixed together. I think I really enjoyed making this one, mainly because I love cream cheese, so I was kind of just like eating the cream cheese. But I think I really like this one because it's like a fun little activity, especially stuffing the jalapenos with the cream cheese inside of it, adding a little bit of cornflakes on top. Overall, it was a pretty fun recipe to make. Probably took us a matter of like 15-20 minutes to make everything, and it only has to go into the oven for a couple minutes at a time. By this point in time, I was getting really tired of cooking. Literally, I have been cooking the entirety of the day, so I was just looking forward to being done with this recipe, eating it, and just going to bed because we have been cooking for way too long. I would not recommend cooking this many recipes in one day. It just took way too long, but hopefully the food makes it worth it.
Alright guys, the poppers are done. Here they are. They're pretty similar to the picture. I think we did a pretty good job. Now, I just have a really bad spice tolerance, so I just hope it won't be like really hot.
Little did I know that I just jinxed myself.
We'll see. Alrighty, let's try these poppers and see how they taste. Okay, but they're a little hot. That was the moment I knew I effed up. I'm not a spice girl. They're a little hot. I'm gonna try the red one. Just to see if it's a little less spicy, but my mouth is on fire. Let's focus. Here we go. Try this one. Okay. Let me just say, these are actually really good. I actually really like the jalapeno poppers. Now, my spice tolerance is so low, guys. I'm over here, my mouth is on fire from a jalapeno. That like just sounds sad. But overall though, the filling is really good. It's very creamy. The cornflakes on top of it actually add a little bit of crunch to it because now that they've been in the oven, they're a little bit soggy at the bottom. But with that crunch on the top, it is actually really good. I have to say, so far, I think this has to be like my favorite snack.
Why you always lying?
It's very tasty. It has a little bit of spice, but it has that little hint of cream cheese, so it's a little on the sweeter side. Honestly, a great late night snack. And then I'll give you guys my final thoughts on what I think about the Stardew Valley cookbook. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Bye. Still hot. It's hot. Oh, the red one.
The red one's really hot and the green one. But it's still peppers.
My mouth is hot.
You done? Yeah.
Yeah, guys, speaking in the future, after I ate that jalapeno popper, it was bad. I was on the toilet. I had to go to the store. We bought some Tums. I can't even hold you guys, literally. That was awful. I've never eaten jalapenos before. That was my first time. And as a person who has acid reflux, I'm gonna just say it wasn't for me. The food was good, but in that moment in time, I was like, oh, it's no big deal. No, I died. Yeah, no, that sent your girl to the bathroom. No more jalapeno poppers for me. So overall, what did I think about eating Stardew Valley food for 24 hours? Let me just say, it was okay. Overall, I did think some of the recipes were a bit confusing to read, just in regards to just how they wanted things. I think this was a bit hard of a challenge to do, especially trying to get it all done in one night. Some of these things kind of take hours to cook, so I think prep is the biggest thing. If you know what recipe you're gonna make, like you probably would in anything, and not eating 50 million recipes in one day, I overall don't think this is too bad. I am not a super advanced chef. I can't cook too much. And I definitely think some of these recipes are a little harder. So if you're a beginner, I can't say I can fully recommend you trying out all the recipes in the Stardew Valley book. But I will say And it's just really cool just seeing an official Stardew Valley cookbook. I wish Harvest Moon would do something like this. But this was actually a really fun experiment to try. Let me know if you guys liked today's video, if you want to see more things like this, if you have any other recommendations, like should I do Cooking Mama next? I mean, this is coming from the experience of a girl who can't cook. Okay, you see the food over here? Your girl don't do that kind of cooking. Basing it on the fact that I was not the best experience of a cook, I will say I had a lot of fun. That was the one thing I can say. I actually had a lot of fun making these recipes. Would I do this all over again? The way I just did it this time? Probably, actually, absolutely not. Yeah, no. Why did I do that? If you guys liked any of the recipes that I tried out, I'll write them in the description down below for you, and a link to the Amazon link if you want to buy this. This is not sponsored at all from Stardew Valley. I just wanted to try this. If you guys have any other video game foods I should try, let me know in the comments below. Some of the food was a little better than others, but I think this was definitely worth the experience. If you want to try some fun Stardew Valley foods, you should highly, highly check them out. Again, thank you guys so much for 5,000 subs. It's really made my year. You guys have really helped me achieve the goal of the year that I've always wanted. Let's keep growing this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye guys!